The opposite pressure effect. I first introduced this in my tray flip tutorial, and I was talking about how when you set up for a tray flip, you'll have your back foot with the toes hanging off, and your front foot in somewhat of a kickflip position. You know, regular kickflip probably up here, but tray flip, you know, maybe a little bit more pointed and in the center. So basically this, but not just this. What's really important is that you put pressure on the toes. You put weight on the toes. And, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, sorry for the squeaking here. Trucks are getting a little old, but it's not just about placing your toes right there. It's about really putting weight, putting pressure on them. And it doesn't have to be kind of hovering over that the entire time, but it especially needs to be the case right before you pop, right? Put that pressure on it. Almost looks like you're gonna get wheel bite. And you can pause before you see any person who has a good tray flip right before they pop, and you'll pretty much see that. And it may not be in every case, right? There may be some people that kind of prefer to have it over here to get a higher pop on it, and they can get away with that, and their kick flips end up, you know, perfectly fine during the trick. But what's important about this opposite pressure effect is that, see that right there? All that pressure going on this end of the board consequentially means that although this side of the board is closer to the ground, it means that for the other side, it's the opposite. Now, why is that important? It's important because, as you can see here with the tray flip, I'm about to pop, and I need to start the kick flip. And because the grip tape on this end of the board is higher, it's more raised up, it's gonna more easily meet the side of my foot. And because of that, it's going to give me a faster response and a better kickflip. Now, why does that matter? Well, it won't matter too much if you have some fresh kicks and really grippy grip tape, because you may not need that extra little bit of help. But if you've been skating a pair of shoes for over a month and you have a worn down board, it's gonna make a world of difference, because that little bit of help you have, that extra split second or difference in, you know, millimeter when it comes to bringing the rubber to the grip tape faster, makes a world of difference. It will help out with the kick flip on the tray flip so much faster, and it'll make it easier. And if you're having problems with the tray flip, you know, getting the kick flip fully done, and you're landing upside down or you're landing primo all the time, that is almost like a surefire way to get rid of that problem. So that was basically, in a nutshell, what I was explaining in my tray flip tutorial, or any video I do on tray flips. I always mention that. I always say that when you pop, or when you get ready to pop, have the pressure on this end, raises up this end, and before you know it, it gives you a good solid kickflip. So I've mentioned that several times, but it doesn't only apply to that. It can apply to other tricks, just like I had mentioned with the hard flip. Oftentimes, in the past, I didn't want to put my foot too far over here, because I noticed a lot of people that did their hard flips that way kind of did the illusion flip, right? It almost seemed like a pop shove. It was so vertical that you can just, you pop, and they utilize that too as well, right? You know, opposite pressure effect. That end of the board's down, this one's up. It helps the kick flip portion of the hard flip go better. But if you're not careful, if you just let the foot just kind of get out of the way, it'll do somewhat of the illusion flip. Now, when you do a hard flip, it doesn't have to be that way, right? You can still you don't have to have your foot way over here or anything, but you can still utilize that pressure by putting more weight on the toes. Really sorry about the squeaking. I don't know why my trucks are so old right now. You can utilize that by still pressing on the toes. You don't have to be crazy over there. And it will still help you bring this end of the board up. And as long as you complete your motion of kind of flicking out instead of, going up and letting it go in between your feet, you can still flick it out and give it that expression, so where it still flips horizontally, if that's your thing. If you want a more horizontal hard flip, it doesn't have to be either or, right? And that's something that I realized recently with the hard flip. But again, it doesn't just have to be with, you know, tray flips and hard flips. It can be with a lot of other tricks. It can be, in a way, with something like varial heel flips. You know, this is the opposite. You have the foot hanging off here in the heel flip fashion. On the back end, you have the toes on the opposite side, and this kind of brings it, you know, that brings the weight back a little here to where you see the opposite happening, and the pinch is happening over here. And because of that, it can really help you get a good solid heel flip. So that's just the opposite effect when it comes to the varial heel flip. Or the same thing with backside heel flips. I think I mentioned this in my backside heel flip tutorial. Same thing, you just have kind of like an opposite effect going on. Nollie backside flips is one of my favorite tricks to do, one of my favorite nollie flip tricks to do. Again, you can have weight over here pinching down, and it's easy to kind of get in the mode of, you know, just popping and letting it do the illusion flip type of thing. But it doesn't have to be that way, because sure, if you pop and just let it go right between your feet and just kind of don't really give this effort, just kind of let it get out of the way, flick a little, but just let it flip between the feet, it'll do somewhat of an illusion flip. But if you pop that way and you know, make sure to get the flip more pronounced and really just flick it out, it will work in your favor and it will go horizontally again. And you can see that in my video about nollie backside flips. So the same thing can go for frontside flips, you know. Typical, it doesn't have to be an illusion flip. It just depends on how much you end up kind of flicking this out and making it go horizontal despite your back foot, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm not coming across as a crazy person. I can just get kind of detailed with skateboarding, but I wanted to illustrate that that the opposite pressure effect has done a lot for me. I think it's a very important thing to keep in mind, especially if you're not a skateboarder who's constantly getting new gear. If you tend to wear the same shoes for a long time and wear them out until they can't be skated anymore, right? If you're not constantly buying new boards, or if you don't have some sort of sponsorship or hookup going on, you're not always going to be able to depend on the fact that you have, fresh gear that's going to respond well to how you set up and how you skate. And because of that, you can take these simple steps to help maximize the chance that you're going to be skating more consistently and getting the same results consistently. So all of this kind of goes, this is something I like to stick by regardless of what my setup is like. Whether I have some brand new gear or something that I've been skating for a while, I take advantage of the pressure effect regardless. And I think it's very valuable when it comes to doing flip tricks, and it brings about more consistency, because regardless of your setup or, your shoes or how any of that looks or how any of it skates, you can still keep those same consistent principles and they will work either way, even more so for new gear. So that's just something I wanted to mention. I think it's worth giving it a shot. As far as regular kick flips and regular heel flips go, it may not apply as much because you're not doing a shove it this way or a shove it that way or anything. You're just trying to keep it pretty simple and pretty straightforward. I just think that for more advanced flip tricks, it can help a ton. It definitely works wonders in my opinion. And it's not like you're it's not really like you're cheating, right? If I'm talking about the pressure effect, some people may think, oh, well, is it then a pressure flip? No. Simply because pressure flips are, pressure flip would be, you know, I'm putting pressure on the toes, and then with that pressure, I'm gonna add so much to it to where with the toes, I'm gonna just kind of scrape it under and get it going. And that's really what a pressure flip is in any direction. So no, a lot of tricks in skateboarding utilize pressure, and they're not pressure flips. They're not called pressure flips. The pressure flip flips in the direction that you're using that pressure. You know, whether you're doing a pressure inward heel or a pressure hard flip where you put the pressure here and then you really press down to get it flipping where you put the pressure, right? In this case, in any direction, whether you're doing the tray flip or the hard flip, the pressure's here, but it helps you get your actual flip, helps you get that done. So hopefully that can help clarify some things for you guys. Leave me some comments below if you have any questions or you want me to go over this in another way, or if you're confused on anything. I just think that this can help you a lot when it comes to, I guess, refining your flip tricks or getting them more consistent. So I just wanted to go over it in depth for you guys. Again, hope it helps. Hope you guys are doing well. Leave me your comments and questions as always. Send me your videos. I know a lot of you guys still been consistently sending me videos, and that's what I'm stoked on. That's what I'm here for. So, peace.